isn't it? Hold on, let's fix the camera. So this is just loading into the editor at the moment. Once it's loaded into the editor, I can... Oh, hello, I'm all little. Let's make me not so little. There you go. Oh, look at that, it's a much better picture. Okay, so... what I'm doing here is I'm going to switch over... Is that the player service? No, where's the player service? Alright, where is the player service? That one? Oh, it's over there, look. Does that mean it's underground? So what I'm trying to do is make it to where, because I don't want to use the default BR101. Bluntly. Leipzig main station 102. Yeah, these are the underground tracks, aren't they? So I need to go and find them. There it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to... I've got no idea what the appropriate service for this is. White meat American. What makes you think this is American? Right, hang on a second. Nearly there. Just going to import another pack of assets. That's better. You reckon the BR442 is appropriate, do you? In that case, let me switch that over and I'll do the BR442 then. As I like driving the 442, it's nice. That's better. Put the 442 in. Escalator, you're awkward. Drag that to there. Yay! Right, now I can just get rid of all of that stuff. Put that across into about there somewhere. Better, much better. Save that. Right, never run it from the scenario editor. And hit replay. That's it, now we're good. Intercity 125 on a high-speed German line. Yeah, I do that and then just wait for the torrent of abuse on YouTube. People get upset if it's the wrong number, let alone completely the wrong type. Anyway, welcome aboard the S-Bahn to Bitterfeld, which is in fact an alternative train to a broken 442 EMU. Oh, there you go. The ride into a beautiful spring morning starts at Leipzig Central. The train has to be stopped at Leipzig Nord, Leipzig Mess, Rackwitz, all these places. Nothing unexpected will happen. Please pay attention to the timetable. It's calculated for an EMU, so hurry up. Ooh, even got rail driver. Whoa, look at this. Got lights, PZB, Seafer, got the pedal. Ah, the taskbar's doing its thing. I can't see what's going on in the game. Oh, Windows, I hate you. Right, I'm reinstalling Linux. Let's grab a screenshot while we're waiting. Where's the tea? I haven't got tea at the moment. Okay. Restricted monitoring. Speed reduction to 60. Apparently the pedal's not working. Run at gaming. This is the Berlin Leipzig route, which was released last week. If you like German routes, then yeah, I mean it's an absolute monster of a route. Very big. 60 limit with a yellow. Acknowledged. Right, so after this, I'm going to do a UK train spotting scenario. Leipzig North is our next. Why is the map so far zoomed out? Because that's its default zoom level. Let me just fix that. Not that the map is particularly accurate on this route. Where are we doing UK train spotting? I don't know. There were people who were coming up with recommendations earlier on. I don't know whether or not they were able to actually conclude those. Speed reduction. If anyone's got recommendations for a good train spotting scenario, then I will be forced to just pick one from the recommendation list. Oh, I went over. Clipped it over 45. I see my ETA just getting farther and farther and farther away. Oh, now we're out of monitoring. I can only assume, given that the train that we used to run this scenario had no PZB, that the scenario timings aren't set up for PZB. That's the only thing I can assume on that. Or I'm misinterpreting the speeds, but... Favourite German loco? I don't know, the BR442, certainly right up at the top. Alright, got 90 limit past here. Next station, Leipzig Fair. I think the thing with the C for putting the brakes on is that it doesn't put an emergency application on, it puts a full service application on, and you can release from the full service application. I mean, it's the same level of braking, it's just not emergency stop, which I don't think you can normally release from emergency stop. Certainly a C for full service brake application, if you acknowledge the CFA, it will release the brakes for you. Well, it might put an emergency application on in the game, but I think it's technically a full service application. Just getting further and further behind on this one now. TPTS, not tonight, no. No, they'll be on Thursday. It's annoying. For some reason the CFA pedal's not working. No. And Sunham, where did I get the other cab view? I'm not sure what you mean, other cab view. Do you mean behind me? It's just a screenshot of the BR442. Can you take files from another folder than the EN folder and use them in a script? Yeah, you can pull them from anywhere, I think. Depends on what they are. If they're HTML files, things like that, they have to come from a localized folder. It will always default to pulling them from EN if the other one isn't there. Backwards. You want to use a file that's used in another scenario? No, I don't think you can do that, Simon. I think you're limited to only the folder space of your scenario. Three and a half kilometers for Rackwitz. Oh, the microphone in the cab. That's always in this model, in Sarnham. See you later, Hunter WJ. Why is the map offset? Because this route wasn't built with the Google technology in the first place. So what you're looking at is was best guess approximations with the assistance of markers and so forth. I think when Berlin Wittenberg was started, it was a long time ago, and the Google Maps overlay wasn't there. And to be honest, once you've started it, you can't move everything, so you just have to make do with it where it is. Good job, this thing's got really good brakes. Nay, fantastic brakes. Yeah, that's correct. You can override CIFA but not PZB. .909, we're due into Bitterfeld. What's the game playing after tea, Gav? We're going to do Truck Sim. Ayrton's, yeah, the score is bad because the first bit of the scenario you're under restricted monitoring, so you can't get to line speed, so you're immediately late before you've even got anywhere. I suspect, given that the BR101 doesn't have PZB, it's been built and tested around timings about not having PZB. Getting back up to 160 again. Excuses, excuses. Absolutely, Gobloppermouth. You should know me by now. If there's an excuse, I've found it. Is that really old, Shazam? The BR101 is the original one that came out in Rail Simulator. Yeah, it's 7 years old now, that loco. It's awful. What sim do I find scenario writing easier, MSTS or TS? That's difficult because it depends what you want to do. Some aspects were a lot easier in MSTS, but you can do different things and other things and better things in railwork, so it's not really a black and white. You had a lot more control in MSTS, but that also meant you had to do a lot more as well. How do you change the destination screen at the front of the BR442? When you create the scenario, you can do that. Oh, it's the wrong speedo, is it? Yeah. I can fix that, hang on. There you go. Yeah, having services and then duplicate and then essentially sort of adding this service uses this timetable on this consist quickly over and over again. That was quite neat. There's always that painful slow bit because from 10 kilometers, I think it is, down to 0, it cuts the e-brakes and just has a fixed application on the air brakes, so it always slows down at the same speed, no matter how much of a rush you're in. Well, you see, compliment, that was the thing. In MSTS, you were in 100% control of the pathing, which gave you a lot more power. Oh, we're catching up on the timetable now. But it also meant that you had to do that power. Oh, of course, yeah, I forgot you got independent control over the air brakes. Whereas in Railworks, it will dynamically reroute everything based on where it said it has to go. It will reroute everything accordingly and set the scenario up for you. But on the flip side, it's a lot harder for you to do it. You can manually set all of the paths up, but yeah, it's like I said. I think that for every advantage you find in one, you can probably find an equivalent advantage in the other. What have we got? 3.7 to Delitzsch. See you later, Insanum. Go noticeably so. Well, yeah, because it's trying to calculate and balance up more and more and more. It becomes an exponentially more difficult or growing problem. The more trains you add, it becomes a multiples of multiplication, exponentially more difficult to resolve them all. I think that's at 80 at the next signal. Couple of Mel? You know I can't talk about UE4. Oh, okay. Sure that was an 8 at the ZS3V at the last signal. Oh, the MSTS editor was really unpleasant. One of the things that wasn't really nice was because you did it in the schematic environment. If you wanted to place a wagon at a particular point next to a scenery item, you'd place it, go into the editor, into the game, then move it 3 inches forward, come back out into the editor, move it. Oh, I've moved it too far forward. Where at least in this, it's all done in the 3D world, which is definitely a plus. Hey there, Hoppy. Having a bit of a Sunday afternoon stream. We did Farming Sim earlier on. Do a bit of trains now, and we'll do some trucking after I've had some dinner. Peters Roda. Simon, do you mean it's a really difficult place to stop at? Because you just said it's really a place to stop at. Flying Scotsman, yeah, I will put a video about how to install the music together. It's on my to-do list. Bitterfeld is next. Hoppy, yes, of course you can ask a question about BZB. I don't even have MSTS anymore, B. Harrison. Well, I have got MSTS, but purely to look at, there was something I wanted to look at on MSTS. It's not a complete install by any stretch of the imagination. Not unless all it needs is Settle Carlisle and the Flying Scotsman. That might work. Oh, that's not too bad a stop. We're gaining time as well. We're only about 1 minute and 10 seconds behind the schedule now. When you do the critical run of coil components and come up to the distant caution, you hit page down and you still get an emergency brake application. That's unusual. Oh, you could be going too fast. If you're going too fast through a PZB 1000Hz magnet, it will still put the brakes on. Well, that scared the living daylights out of me. Oh my word, this is going to happen again. That is freaky. Alright, doors are shut. Let's get moving. We only lost a couple of points that time. We're almost caught up. I think it's Coplop because I think because you're using a ton of different stuff, you're pushing the memory right to the maximum. You might find that you're better off doing everything in scenery quality minimum. You might find actually it survives a lot better. And our guys at work have train sim running all day doing editing, and they never have a problem. Right. Yeah. What? I can't remember what that run is, Poppy. But if it's a BR442 running a heavy freight train, it'll be in PZB U mode, and PZB U mode, you need to be running a maximum speed of I think 105 kilometers an hour, and if you exceed that speed, then yeah, the brakes will be unhappy with you. What I'm saying, Coplopamau, is just do the editing with the scenery quality set lowest if you're having lots of problems like that. And then run it normally like that. And run it normally with the settings turned up. Yeah, there's all sorts of... PZB imposes lots of speed restrictions also all over the place. So if you're going through... If you're PZB O train... Actually, if we do PZBU, then you should be doing 105 kilometers an hour, I think it is, as you go through the magnet. You then have a limited amount of time with which to get down to 55 kilometers per hour, or the brakes will still apply. So it might be that's tripping you up as well. Then if the light ahead of you is still a red, if you go through a double yellow, the next light is red, then you have to be doing no more than 45 as you go through the 500 Hz magnet, and you need to decelerate to 25. That's a valid point, Coplopamau. .60 at the next signal. Coming up to Bitterfeld now. Hz on O is 85 limit. Yeah, it goes down to 85. It starts 160, so you can go through the 1000 Hz and up to a maximum of 160 km/h without an immediate trip. If you're doing 162 km/h as you go through a 1000 Hz magnet with PZBO, then it'll trip the brakes because you're going too fast. But you then have a window of time in which to get the train down to 85 km/h. And if you're in PZBU, which is what this freight train on that scenario would be doing, then that is 55. Sorry, it's 105 down to 55. 60 through the next signal. Oh, we're crossing over again. That's why. Yeah, that's a good plan, Coplopamau, to keep the to keep your memory on the route, so something sensible to allow more rolling stock to be used. That's a very good plan. Simon, that scenario you gave me to run the other day, I couldn't get round any corners without getting some kind of drive quality error either. So I gave up with the scoring in the end. What I'd suggest is you go into the scoring settings and just turn it off. Make it a 0 penalty. Something's not right there. 44353. I've got 16 gig. I'm going to upgrade it to 32 at some point in the future, but for the time being 16, because I've got the DDR4 3 gigahertz RAM, which was quite expensive when I bought the machine. So I thought I'll buy 16 now, and when it's cheaper later on, I'll buy more. You don't see the point in career workshop scenarios. Why is that? Because there's leaderboards. You can compare. What you can do is you can compare with other people who run the scenario. Couple of them. So if you've got a route that uses 2.8 gig of memory with even without trains, then that's, in my opinion, that's just a bad decision. That's a pretty route that becomes very difficult to use sensibly. How is TS not laggy? Well, I've got a 980 Ti graphics card. Oh, 45. Get down to 25. Got a red light at the end of the platform. I've got a 980 Ti graphics card. I've got a PCIe M2 SSD, which is ridiculously fast. A Skylake processor, 4 point something gigahertz. This is not a slow machine. Leaderboards should work fine with workshops and career scenarios. So what should happen is that when you upload a career scenario, it should automatically make a leaderboard for it on Steam, and then you can compare it how other people are doing. So yeah, it should work. The creator works on lower scenery settings, so it doesn't have that. Right, yeah, okay. It's like Moselle Valley, you have to run it on minimum settings, otherwise it just crashes all over the place. Woohoo! Minus 1089. Negaglod! Oh, we just finished the scenario, so I can't. There you go, there's the outside view. It hasn't with your workshop career scenarios. In that case, I would drop a note to the support team then. That's very odd. I would have thought it should. Okay, right, changing route. So, let's have a look at this one. So I'm just going to pick the next, have a look at the next one. So the next one will be a British train spotting scenario of some description.